What's going on YouTube? I made this chart comparing the Model 3, the Model Y, and the Aptera for a Robotaxi use case. Take it from the top. It's my reference electricity cost for the purposes of this calculation, and it's 25 cents a kilowatt hour. This is a mid-range for my area. It's 20 cents off peak, 30 cents on peak. So this is just, like I said, a mid-range. This is the efficiency for the Model 3. I use 240 watt hours per mile. Seems like a standard number. 270 is what I've been experiencing with 36,000 miles driven in my Model Y. And the advertised efficiency for the Aptera is 100 watt hours per mile. You get these miles per kilowatts and you convert it. These tire replacement costs, $900 for the Model 3, slightly cheaper than the Model Y. $1,200 is what I paid recently to replace the tires in my Model Y, and I did have to replace my tires at about 30,000 miles driven. Some people believe that that is an aggressive number. You know, I drive with FSD, beta, and autopilot enabled 95+% of the time, so it's pretty conservative driving, and I still got my tires used up in 30,000 miles, so I feel comfortable using that as an estimate. The Aptera, however, has a much lower estimate and has a much lower cost on tires. I estimated it at $150 per tire, which is a mid-range. The tire that the Aptera uses is the same tire used by Fiat 500 and other small subcompact cars of its nature, and those tires range from $90 per to $200 per, so I went with $150 per. Multiplied it by 3, you get this $450 because Aptera only has 3 wheels. It's also worth noting that at 1,500 pounds, the Aptera has a lower weight per wheel ratio than the Fiat 500, so it might actually get more mile life out of its tires than a Fiat 500 typically does, but for the purposes of this exercise, this is what I used. And then we got the vehicle cost here, 47 racks, Model 3, 58, Model Y, 29.8 for an Aptera with 400 mile range. That's what you want to use for the Robotaxi. We take that number, divide it by a million because we're going to have a 1 million mile lifetime Robotaxi. And then we got our electricity cost per mile here, tire cost per mile. This is really stark on the Aptera. The Aptera at 0.7 miles or 0.7 cents per mile. It's about a quarter of the tire cost per mile as the Model 3. Get your total cost per mile here, and then multiply that by a million to come up with your total cost on a lifetime. 137 racks for a Model 3, 165.5 for a Model Y, 62.3 for an Aptera, and even if you were to take into account having max passenger capacity, so that's 4 passengers in a 3 or 4 passengers in a Y, so you take that cost per mile, divide it by 4, you still end up with 3.4 cents, 4.1 cents. With the Aptera, it's 3.12 cents, and you only have 2 passengers. So even fully loaded with passengers, 2 people in an Aptera is still cheaper than 4 people in a Model 3. That's pretty remarkable, and it means that the Aptera is a very compelling vehicle for the Robotaxi use case, because the most important things in Robotaxi are not cost. First, it's safety. It's safety, then cost. Safety, then cost. So that brings us to my questions about the Aptera. So what I got here: crashworthiness and safety of the monocoque composite body design. I saw the Aptera in real life at the San Diego Fully Charged live show. It stole the show. It was super cool. George Jetson mobile. I really like it, and I got to talk to the CEO of the company briefly. He said that in simulation, they're seeing that their monocoque body is safer than the typical four-door, four-wheel passenger vehicle. Very interesting. But simulation's not enough. Right now, they don't have the capital necessary to go to real life crash testing, and they don't really need to do real life crash testing because they're not a vehicle, they're an auto cycle. So they don't have the same safety constraints on them that a vehicle does. So they can get to market without this real life crash testing. But their main strategy is that if they can do this real life crash testing, verify that they're safer than a regular car, they believe that they should qualify for the electric vehicle rebates under the Inflation Reduction Act, and they should get $7,000 per vehicle. That's what they're pursuing with their lobbying strategy. I think that's very interesting, and more power to them for pursuing that. That said, the next question is, how much value does onboard solar add when you have a very high utilization vehicle like a robotaxi? In the case of a robotaxi, like say you're using an Aptera to go from Los Angeles to San Diego or Los Angeles to San Francisco overnight. It's an 8-hour trip and you're just driving nonstop. The only thing it's doing is picking up passengers and charging. The thing probably only needs to charge about 3 hours a day, maybe 4 hours. So say it's driving 20 hours a day. It really becomes a question if the solar on there really adds net energy and is still worth putting on there. My intuition says no, but really an engineer who knows a lot more than me would have to do that calculation to come up with a number. But Aptera has invested a lot into having that onboard solar to make their vehicle really attractive as a personal use case vehicle. I'm just not convinced that it adds that much utility in a robotaxi use case. And then obviously, will Aptera be able to license FSD? The answer should be yes. Tesla has said that it's a moral imperative for them to share full self-driving software with the industry once it's been perfected because it'll save so many lives. So they should be able to make that jump and get it out there. And then the next question is for urban planning profession, really, which is that the Aptera is actually a relatively large footprint vehicle. It has the same footprint on the road as a Toyota Prius, but you can only fit 2 people in there. So you have a vehicle that's taking up as much space as a Toyota Prius, but instead of carrying 4 or 5 people in it, you can only carry 2 at the max. And in places that are prone to congestion, like downtown LA or San Francisco or New York or whatever, the urban planners might have an issue with this, and they might try to reduce the amount of time that Apteras and low capacity vehicles like that can be on the road. What this really leads to is specialization, having robo carpools in these places, and then having individual passenger transport for more hinterlands transport. Because let's be honest, if you're going to go 8 hours overnight from SF to LA, you don't want to be stuck in the car with someone, like, unless it's your wife or your business partner or whatever. So that leads to a future where we have cyber vans for the city, and that means like an 8 to 15 plus passenger vehicle, and then Apteras for going in between the cities at a rapid clip and being really aerodynamic and efficient. Now, the next question this leads me to naturally is, should Tesla acquire Aptera? And I have some very obvious biases here because I'm a long-term Tesla investor and I'm also an Aptera shareholder. I actually have an email from Carta that I got to sort through about my Aptera shares. Now, the biggest question here, the multi-million-dollar question is, can Aptera really demonstrate crash safety in real-life tests? That's really what this all comes down to, because there are many, many people in the comments, and I've already seen it, who will say, Tesla has said no 3-wheelers. Tesla has said they won't do they won't do auto cycles. Well, the reason why Tesla has said that is because Tesla is very invested in safety, and every 3-wheeler we've seen before the Aptera is very unsafe and not crash worthy. The Arcimoto, not crash worthy. You get into a car crash in it, you're gonna get injured. So once they can verify that the Aptera is as safe as a regular 4-wheeled vehicle, if not safer, then this issue goes away, and there really isn't anything that should prevent Tesla from signing off on this and doing an Aptera. And, obviously Tesla can re-engineer, and the Aptera and reverse engineer it in house. But is that really how you want to be spending the time of this engineering talent? You have the best engineering talent in the world. You don't want them to be reiterating what's already been done. You want them to be iterating on what's been done. Because with Tesla, the most important and critical resource is time. So Tesla will save a ton of time by just buying Aptera rather than redoing the work that Aptera has already done. And then once Aptera gets into Tesla, there's a ton of things that could be done with Tesla parts, tech, manufacturing processes that'll further improve the Aptera vehicle. You have 4680 cells. Right now, the Aptera uses 2170 cells. Liquid cooled seats. There's a ton of room. The two passengers who are in the Aptera have a lot of room. So those two chairs that are in there, as comfortable as they are now, they could be replaced with straight up Barca loungers, so that LA to SF overnight trip can be super cozy and comfortable. You could have a liquid cooled seat that'll fully recline all the way back. Could even have a little massage mechanism in it. You could really be relaxing and just fall asleep overnight and then wake up the next morning in the new city you want to explore. Like that's sort of the dream of robotaxis, at least my personal dream for robotaxis. Then obviously Tesla's in-vehicle software stack, industry best. My rough estimate is that cost, weight, and overall energy usage savings for Aptera, having Tesla tech applied to the Aptera vehicle, be in the range of 15 to 20%. So, the Aptera might go from 100 watt hour, or 100, or rather 10 miles per kilowatt hour to like 12 miles per kilowatt hour. That would be insane. So my overall answer, obviously, it's leading to yes. Yes, I think it would be a good idea for Tesla to acquire Aptera, but it relies entirely upon Aptera demonstrating real-life crash safety. Tesla should only step in and do this after Aptera has done these real-life crash tests and verified the safety, because Tesla's whole brand is in safety, technology, automation, and full self-driving will do 99.99999% of the heavy lifting in terms of preventing accidents and driving safer than a human driver, never getting tired, never getting distracted, all that good stuff. But you want the peace of mind of knowing that if the worst happens and you do get into a crash, the vehicle you're in will protect you and ensure that you don't get unreasonable amounts of bodily harm. That's the most important thing. Most important things to a robotaxi is 1, safety, 2, cost. After that, it doesn't matter. All the people who say like, "Oh, Aptera is a boner killer. That thing looks goofy. I would never drive that around." Well, yeah, sure. You don't want to own it. Like, okay, but personal vehicle use, it's not a personal vehicle. It's a robotaxi. Like, you don't care if the Uber that picks you up is in a Toyota Prius or in a Toyota Hilux or a Honda Odyssey or whatever. It's just a way to get from point A to point B. And the use case for Aptera and the bull case for Aptera grows way bigger, way bigger once they become a robotaxi for that reason, because all the naysayers who say that, which I'm not. I love the Aptera. I think the Aptera is a really freaking cool looking car. It's a George Jetson mobile. It's a fucking Star Trek vehicle. I think it's super cool. So I don't get where that criticism comes from, but it's out there. But all of that immediately goes away if it's just a robotaxi. Because if it's just a robotaxi, it doesn't matter what it looks like. What matters is it safe and is it cheap? And clearly the Aptera can be the cheapest robotaxi of the vehicles that actually exist right now. So there's a very attractive package in there. And I think Tesla should seriously consider this once the real life crash tests are verified. But I'm curious to hear what you think. I'd love to hear your comments down below. Like, let me know what you think of these ideas. Hit the like button if you feel like I earned it, and the subscribe button if you think that I earned it. But that's all that I got for you at this time. Thanks for tuning in to my channel. Peace.